Welcome back, everyone. I'm Cucumber, and today I want to sit down a while and recount for you a story, or stories, about me and my not-so-newfound love for the Mage Tower. There will not be anything extravagant going on in today's video, so you could just sit back and possibly open another tab and do something, or stick me in your pocket while you listen to me ramble if you're on your phone. The Mage Tower was introduced long ago in 7.2. However, I actually never really got into the swing of things until just a few months back, when I returned to the World of Warcraft after a brief break from Azeroth. By this point, I had completed all of the Hunter challenges and relegated myself to just those 3. In my mind, I had no reason to attempt them on my alts, as for one, I did not believe I had enough gear for just about any of them, and secondly, I did not play any of my alts enough to actually know how to play them effectively for the Mage Tower. I told myself the Hunter was all I needed, until I had a conversation about the challenges with a guildmate of mine. I could not tell you his name or the exact details of what we discussed, but after about an hour of talking about the challenges and how he had completed them on a number of his characters, he suggested that I give some others a chance, as many of them were very fun, and the appearances awarded for several of the classes were some of the best in the game. This conversation was what gave me the inspiration needed to give at least one other spec a try, the Retribution Paladin. I noticed that I had a 920 item level from the Argus questline and LFR, and remembered my conversation with my guildmate saying that anything around 915 can relatively easily do these challenges. I thought if it only takes being 915 to make these challenges quote-unquote easy, I don't see why I shouldn't make an attempt. From there, I looked up a guide, bought some food, potions of prolonged power, and a handful of drums to prepare, and I felt ready. Of all of my alts, I felt that I was the most comfortable playing Ret Paladin more than anything else. Except possibly the Shadow Priest, but that's the next story. The Retribution Challenge was Sigrun, the God Queen. A triple threat encounter that has you facing 3 bosses at once, while having to do cartwheels and front handsprings to maneuver your way around the mechanics of this fight. Not only did you have to juggle keeping Sigrun under repentance to interrupt Blood of the Father, while not activating the immunity due to DR of course, but you also had to ensure that you avoided Walls of Valkyr, stepped on runes, destroyed the Runeseer shield, and ran away from Velbrand during his Blade Storm. I also have to say that there's probably nothing worse than having Blade Storm, Blood of the Father, Valkyr, and runes all happen at the same time, which occurred on way too many attempts. Sigrun's challenge was nothing less than a cluster of craziness that required a cool head and an understanding of how to best handle each of the mechanics. When I initially tried completing this challenge on my paladin, I failed miserably. I spent over 20 attempts bashing my face against a wall of anger bricks lined with frustration mortar. Eventually, I accepted the fact that I was not good enough at paladin to overcome Sigrun, and I gave up on the venture. However, something was eating away at me for the rest of the day afterward. It got to the point where I had to look up the challenge again to see if I had done something, anything wrong. For so many of my attempts, I felt as if I did not have enough self-healing to get through the fight, as my DPS was lacking due to my apparent ineptitude as a Ret Paladin. As it turned out, I had chosen the wrong talent for the challenge. I had Eye for an Eye, which is a defensive cooldown that countered attacks while it was activated. Instead, the recommended choice was Justicar's Vengeance, which gave you the healing for all the damage you dealt with the attack. This talent was a game changer, as the very next day I walked into Sigrun's room and took her down within the hour. The talent did not help me step on the runes after I'd run out of the Divine Steed charges, so it still took me a number of attempts. Regardless, this moment of victory was the first push in a line of dominoes that caused me to become obsessed with these challenges. I started going on to every one of my characters, evaluating whether or not I should try their specific challenges, and if I had close to a 959 item level, I went for it. After I had run out of alts with the recommended item level, I just said screw it and attempted the quote-unquote easy challenges, namely Fell Totem and Sigrun. One after the other, the challenges fell as each wall that had erected itself before me was crushed by my forehead, fortified by stubbornness and rage. 2 challenges that were especially difficult and hectic for me were the Shadow Priest and the Elemental Shaman. First, let me delve into the Shadow Priest. This challenge was by far the most fun that I have ever had in the Mage Tower, and with Shadow in general, during all of Legion, because when I completed the challenge, the strategy was to use the Surrender to Madness talent in hopes of one-phasing Raced. The intensity of this challenge was second to none compared to any other spec, as I felt as if I needed to do everything perfectly to successfully kill Wraith in the limited DPS time frame. Take note that I did the Shadow Priest challenge at 916 with no tier and the Mother Sharaz, the legendary shoulders and the insignia as my legendaries. So I did not have too much with which to work. Numerous times I would get Wraith down to 10 million, 5 million, 3 million, 2.5 million health, and he would face change, thus killing me due to losing all of my insanity and instantly dying. Horribly. Like the Ret Paladin challenge, I had no idea what I was doing wrong and what I could do to improve because I was downright doing the best that I could based on what the guides recommended. But wait, that was it. I was attempting this challenge with the recommendations of the guide on when to pop certain cooldowns during the encounter. At that point, I decided that I would do certain things slightly earlier than what the guide had said, and the moment I tried my new strategy, Wraith was consumed by the void as I lost myself in my own insanity. I was uproarious in my excitement as you only needed to kill Wraith for the challenge, and the moment he died, I was killed by my own talent. The secret to that challenge, for me at least, the entire time was that I was following the guide too stringently, and it only makes me smile to think about how it was me not following the guide enough that made the Ret Paladin challenge difficult, only for the Shadow Priest to be the complete opposite. In the very end though, I must admit that the Shadow Priest was not my craziest challenge completion. That title is currently held by my Elemental Shaman. I want to give some context before I tell my Shaman story. I despise the Agatha challenge, bar none. My feelings for her were cemented by both my Fury Warrior and my Elemental Shaman for one reason only. I either had trouble with the ads, or I didn't. It was a complete toss-up whether the ads would take one attack to die or a full rotation. For me, those two specs were never consistent on how well I managed the ads, and it was grueling. I blame it on the fact that I'm not very good at these specs, so I had a lot of trouble when I probably shouldn't have. Anyway, I ended up completing both of them and managed to go on to do it on my Fire Mage, my Unholy Death Knight, and my Feral Druid, the latter which, by the way, bent Agatha over a barrel without even trying. I digress. So, what made my Elemental Shaman so unique compared to the other specs? Well, other than the fact that it was a slog to try to kill Agatha as an Elemental Shaman, I do not even think I legitimately killed her on my Shaman. After what felt like over an hour of attempts, I was getting Agatha so close to dying on so many pulls, but I was never closer than my last pull, obviously, as I died with Agatha only at 2 million health. I was devastated, but the interesting thing was that she was taking an oddly long time to despawn, as normally it is almost instant. This was my opportunity to take advantage of one of the most overpowered abilities for this challenge, Reincarnation. I resurrected myself and I dashed over to Agatha, who remained at 2 million health, and the ads had stopped doing their job as well. It only took 2 attacks from this zappy boy to bring her down, and the challenge was complete. Agatha had perished by my hand. While I do admit the challenge was most likely not meant to be exploited like that, I decided not to tell Blizzard, and I sincerely hope you don't either. Let's say it's a secret between us. Anyway, those were my little Mage Tower debacles that stuck out to me. But what was the point of me telling you those stories? The title of my video is Why I Love the Mage Towers. Well, ever since I stopped raiding in the beginning of Legion, I became a sort of off and on player in WoW. I would subscribe for a bit, see the new patch, get ahead of the curve, and then let my month's time run out and wait for new content. I had nothing keeping me tied to the game anymore, and the fire that once burned so bright had dimmed to the point where I would get bored with what the game had to offer after only about a month or two. The game I used to be obsessed with was now stale. It was not until I discovered the Mage Tower that I had a reason to play just a tad longer to get one more piece of gear for when the next time it was active. I look forward to the days when the tower is up because I finally get to do something that makes me genuinely excited as I get the chance to tackle a difficult yet rewarding challenge that is somewhat akin to something like mythic raiding, I guess. The accomplishment of overcoming the various Mage Towers is all my own, and that feeling of excitement for whenever Sigrun falls to her knees, Agatha perishes, Xylan is freed, Wraith is destroyed, or Feltotem with his slippery boy are defeated is something I have not felt in all of my time in Legion. I have found something to give me a reason to play that I enjoy with every fiber of my being, as it does not simply fall over and give me rewards like much of the content in Legion. At least the stuff I'm relegated to as a mostly single player. While the challenges are undoubtedly frustrating, hair-pulling experiences with their fair share of shortcomings, I do not regret a single moment or nether shard I have ever spent on the Mage Tower. And I hope for nothing more than for Blizzard to implement something similar in Battle for Azeroth, because for me, as someone who does not raid anymore or PvP in the high end, the Mage Tower is one of, if not the most fun and engaging aspect to Legion. I would recommend anyone to at least try the Mage Tower once on any character, because I know personally that all it took for me to fall in love with the challenges was that one push. I know this video was a shorter one, but recently all I could think about was the Mage Tower challenges, and I thought sharing a few of my experiences and why I appreciate the Mage Tower would make an interesting enough snippet into the mind of a cucumber. I want you guys to tell me about your experiences with the Mage Tower. Do you love it like I do? Hate it? Have you not tried it yet? Or even better, do you have any funny or out-of-the-box experiences with the challenges so far? Be sure to let me know, because I would love to hear your stories or even gripes with the Mage Tower. Anyway, I'm Cucumber, and remember, pass the dressing.